What a sad poster. Okay, okay, Mattel, you can stop now. This is a joke, right? real funny, Mattel. Yo, okay, you can stop this whole massive April Fool's prank that you're playing on. I think you're kind of like a week early on this. Like, this is for April Fool's Day, right? Oh wait. Oh, do you mean this is the actual main line? Uh, oh. Hey guys, welcome back to another leak video, and today it is a big day today because Mattel has finally released the Diecast mainline poster for 2026, and just by looking at it, really? Mattel, do you honestly think that this is like good for a mainline? Is this all you can think of what you can like release this year? Oh my god. Okay. How do I explain this anyways? So let's just get started. So I'm just gonna start off by like how the poster looks before I get to like the actual diecast itself. So just by looking at the poster, it looks pretty good, to be honest. Like I really like those, like on the side you see like those little streaks you see on the side, and just like replicating like the old diecast back then. I mean, like it's a good attention to detail, which I do really like. It's definitely kind of like make old fans definitely remember this, and also that image of Lightning McQueen animator is also pretty good, and also like the background of Carburetor Canyon and like the road. So the poster style, it's not bad. It still feel like much more better than like the more recent posters, I would say. Okay, now we're going to go into the mainline singles, the most accessible diecast mainline that anyone can get, and I'm going to be such a big sarcaster in this video. So yeah, anyways, let's just get started on this list. Anyways, you basically have like your basic singles like Lightning McQueen, Mater, Flo, Sarge, and Merlin. Merlin is kind of a little bit more one of the interesting ones, so like I guess like it's pretty nice to see Merlin here. Alright, now the next half of this row, we basically have like Sally, Cher, Ton Marcus, Raul Carlo, and Rhoda Turboski. And I honestly think that Mattel can like release like better Cars 1 racers. I'm like some of these are Cars 1 racers that we kind of already like seen already for like the past like 2 years. Like you could have released like Slater Petrolsky or Dirksen D'Agostino, like basically Cars 1 racers that we haven't seen in quite a while. Alright, now moving on to like the second layer of Cars 1, we have the King, Lizzie, Hollangas, Radiator Springs McQueen, and Mike07, which out of all this Cars 1 list, he seems to be the more interesting and also like the random, because like in my opinion, like he just feels so out of place here, like Mattel, this is the most random thing that they can ever think of to put in the main line, but I guess it is also kind of cool seeing him again. Now in the next half of like the second column that we have of Cars 1 is we have Chick Hicks, Transforming McQueen, Hydraulic Ramon, Brad Wimmeler, and Luigi and Guido. So yeah, like nothing really like to push here. It's just like, you know, like some of these are kind of cool, like Hydraulic Ramon, but like I want to say that it's like really amazing, you know. Now, the final column that we have of the Cars 1 list is that we have Dexter Hoover, Checker Flag, Marlon Clutches McKay, and Yellow Hydraulic Ramon. So yeah, Hydraulic Ramon is like the only card that we haven't like seen or like so far in any of the cases or any pictures. So I guess it's kind of interesting, but overall in the Cars 1 section, it's pretty short to be honest for like an anniversary list. I kind of expected like more for a Cars 1 list since like it is the 20th anniversary of the franchise, I guess. But yeah. Okay, so we are now done with the Cars 1 section. Now let's get on like the Cars 2 section. And the Cars 2 section, it's Well, there's not really much like too much like going on. It was just like a bunch of like re-releases, but like in a good way, or some of these at least. Okay, so taking a look, we have Lyndon McQueen with Racing Wheels, Figment Missile, and Francesco Bernoulli, and like such pretty like good re-releases. I would say to release for the like the 20th anniversary or 15th anniversary, I should say, since it's also like Cars 2's 15th anniversary. So I guess Mattel wanted like something to celebrate with Cars 2, I guess. Alright, and now the next half of this column we have Carla Veloso, Holly Sheffield, the new color variant, or like not really new, it's just like reverting back to like the old color back in 2011, and made her with Balloon, kind of like standard like releases, but I can see like how people can still glaze these, and I know there are some people who are a fan of these, so yeah, pretty interesting. Alright, now moving on to like the bottom of like Cars 2's main section is that we have Memo Rojas Jr., Flesh Nielsen, Mel Dorado, and Nigel Garsley. So yeah, I guess like I said, I think Mattel was just like trying to find something like a way to kind of like celebrate like Cars 2 15th anniversary, which I can kind of forgive, but that's probably the reason why they even re-released Memo Rojas Jr. and Flash Nielsen. I just thought it's like kind of like random, but like kind of like out of nowhere, like or like could kind of like went straight into your face. It's like whoa, I didn't expect that. But Mel Dorado, Nigel Garsley, like kind of nice. Mel Dorado, not really too sure. I feel it's kind of a bit too random, if I do say so myself. Alright, now we're finally moving on to like the final two cars from the Cars 2 section in this poster is that we have Race Team Filmer with Headset and Raul Sarul. And man, Mattel, this is the most random thing you could possibly think of to put in the main line. I'm like Race Team Fillmore. He has to be one of the most random releases in this lineup right next to Mike 07. I'm like, really? You're just gonna release like Race Team Fillmore with Headset and not like the others from McQueen's Big Guru and Cars 2? So you're telling me you're not gonna release like Mater with Headset or Race Team Sarge Luigi and Guido, but just film with Headset? Come on, Mattel. Like, this is the most basic thing you can come up with, and you're not gonna release anything? Come on now. So yeah, overall like not really much or like too much like going on in like the Cars 2 section. Although I will kind of give it this. At least the section is not really like too small, because if you know from the past like 3 or 2 years, you see the Cars 2 section has been very dry. Like there's barely any releases in the Cars 2 section. But I guess at least Mattel's picking up like the slots, and I guess should we consider that a positive thing, I guess? Okay, so now we're gonna get into like the Cars 3 section. Alright, so let's get into it. Okay, so like the first car we have starting off is that we have Jackson Storm, like pretty basic, Ray Riverham, pretty nice. I like the re-release of it, and Jimmy Lagrange. And again, with like the same issue of like random releases. I mean, like I guess like you have Jimmy Lagrange and Doc Hudson, both Thomasville racers. That's it. Pretty sure you can release more than that, Mattel. This feels like pretty empty. Alright, now next up we have Rusty's Lyndon McQueen, Donna Coker's Ramirez, Fabulous Lyndon McQueen, Mayor of 95 Hat, and Jonas Carvers. So yeah, these are like pretty like basic like cars. Although I would say that Donna Coker is definitely like a nice one, because it's quite been around since like she's gotten like her first single release since 2021. So not that much too much going on. Alright, now the next half of this Cars 3 column is that we basically have like Speedy Comment, Richie Gunsit, that's kind of a nice one actually, Noah Go Check, and Clutch 8 Racing Tractor. And again, another random release, Clutch 8 Racing Tractor. I'm like, how are you going to release like a Clutch 8 Racing Tractor, but you're not going to do the rest of the tractors? You could have easily like done a new tractor this year. Like you could have done like the tank code, the no stall, like tractor. I'm like, come on, you could have done it, Mattel. Alright, now next up we have Morgan Martin's like the re-release Super Chase, Will Rush, Heyday Smokey, which they still haven't fixed. They just call it Heyday Smokey. It's supposed to be Hot Rod Smokey, JD McParlin, Aaron Clocker, that's a pretty nice one, and Doc Hudson, like once again for another year in a row. So yeah. Now the last two cars we have in the Cars 3 segments that we have Chris Roman and Barry DePedal. Barry DePedal, I don't understand why Mattel keeps on releasing this guy. Chris Roman, pretty nice. So yeah, overall in the Cars 3 section, it's like, I kind of feel that like Mattel kind of like oversaturated like the Cars 3 section a little bit too much, since it's supposed to be like the 20th anniversary of Cars. I'm like, this wouldn't be good if it was like in like 2027, because again, like next year is Cars 3 like 10th anniversary, but I guess the Cars 3 second is fine, but yeah, Speedy comment. I'm gonna like he's literally like the only veteran in this list. I guess like Mattel somewhat kind of answered our request, I guess, but at the same time, kind of not. Moving on to Cars on the Road, and like wow, only one car on the Cars on the Road section. I'm like, I guess it's kind of good, like since that like Cars on the Road is taking like a backseat this year, since that like nobody really like Cars on the Road. Like Mattel said that like Cars on the Road was kind of like done, kind of mid, and but wow, that only one car. That's kind of sad, but like good, but not really sure what to say about this one. Let me guys know. Okay, now next up we have the race and rescue section, and yeah, let's just get this over with. Red, Luigi and Guido, Sarge, Morgan Martin, Landon McQueen, Cruz Ramirez, Mater, Kathy Copter, Jackson Storm, and Chick Hicks. So yeah, it's kind of interesting how like Mattel like kind of like cut off almost half of like all the race and rescue diecast. Like there's no Cal Weathers, there's no Adam Rodriguez, there's no Jeff Gorvat. So I guess like it's kind of glad that like not all race and rescues here, right? But although there are some bad ones on this list, look at you, Kathy Copter. Alright, yes, finally, we're getting to the race to celebrate vehicles. Alright, now let's get in. And just by looking at like the vehicles we have for this new lineup, it's pretty short. Yeah, there's only 6, and I mean like 6 freaking cars in this section, and only the singles. Like we only have Lightning McQueen, Mater, Ramon, Boost, Sally, and Fillmore. And yeah, I'm going to talk more about these like whenever I get all of them, so that I can all talk about them in full. But just by looking at them, I'm like, bro, just look at Fillmore. I'm like, Fillmore looks so cursed. I think it's the reason like why is because he doesn't have like all the stickers on him, like the peace sign, like all that's like on him. He just looks kind of so cursed. Like Boost looks pretty cool, Sally kind of like the more weaker ones, Ramon kind of too much color going on, Mater pretty nice, McQueen also not like it as well. Alright, now the next like quote unquote like new or like celebration or like Mattel cards that we have the new Lightning McQueen Golden promo. And yeah, like I'm not sure like how this guy will be released, maybe like similar like the Golden Rusty's McQueen that was released back in 2021, but it will either probably be like an online exclusive, maybe like a Target exclusive, like not really too sure. Like I already talked about this item, but yeah, still pretty interesting. Okay, so we are now done covering like the singles, which there's probably just like only like 80 of them or more. Now we're finally going to be moving on to the 2-packs. So first off we have Mater with Tractor and Tire Mouth, such a clunky name. Wish they could have released like the normal Tractor, but I guess it's fine, I guess. Roger Wheeler and Strip Weathers, aka the King, pretty nice one, like the presentation of it. Bling Bling Landon McQueen Tex Danico, kind of confusing. I'm not really sure why they decided to re-release that one. Maybe it's probably like a dedication to like Humphrey like Wheeler, like he voiced Tex Danico in all like the Cars movies, but just like yeah, I guess it's trying to kind of making like a tribute to him, but I don't know why they decided to release this one. Maybe make Tex as a single. Buzz Lightyear and Woody. Actually, I kind of like that one a lot. Again, like it feels random, but I guess it's also kind of necessary since that like Toy Story 5 is also coming out this year. So I don't see a reason why Mattel doesn't decide to release this. Red and Guido. Where's Luigi? The headset, Crucci McQueen, and Rusty's Chris Ramirez. Definitely getting that one. Jim Raverick and Spiky Phillips, Pat Truxton and Jeff Gorvet. Yeah, at least it's in like the Cars 3 section. But again, it's not Cars 3 Jeff Gorvet though. Maddie McGear and Rusty's McQueen. But that's actually kind of like wrong since that's like Cars 3 McQueen. So what's going on with Tell. Deputy Hazard McQueen, Bella Cadaver 2-pack, Race and Rescue 2-packs nobody cares about. Mater McQueen 2-pack, like kind of basic, like what's the point of buying a 2-pack when they're going to be in singles? Ramon and Flo, so I guess Ramon will kind of be like an exclusive. And finally, Landon McQueen and Doc Hudson. Like, I'm actually very excited about that. Doc Hudson looks pretty nice. Definitely grab me that one. But anyways, that is all for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and overall, like, this poster is like kind of disappointing, but I think most of us are kind of used to that by now. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.